God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey A. Presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
Love that you got that in. God bless football, Fuentes.
God bless football, Stugotz.
Thank you, Mike Fuentes. A very tired Mike Fuentes.
Very low also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, he's tired, and we miss Mikey. Yeah, you snuck that one in. That was stealth, Billy. That was good.
That was awesome.
Hey, God bless football.
I know, but
Presented by Smirnoff.
I'm surprised Mikey A didn't cut you off. That's all.
Please
I
drink
was
responsibly.
Yes, I know.
Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
Chemistry.
You're sneaking another one in.
Hey,
aren't
Mikey,
you?
where have you been? We haven't spoken to you in, it feels like forever. We missed you last week sometimes, and then Monday you were still traveling. How was your big football trip?
It was fun. It was fun. We went to see that Thursday night game, Kirk Cousins and against the Bucks. That was a lot of fun.
That was a great game.
We went to it really was. We had a good time there. That stadium, fantastic. Fantastic, that stadium.
Yeah.
Got to see Matt Ryan inducted into the Ring of Honor.
What a moment.
Nice.
Not as much pomp and circumstances for Matt as you'd think.
Right.
But then we went to Georgia Auburn, where the biggest cheer was when they showed the Alabama score. And Mike Golick saved me. I want to say I'm gonna use hyperbole and say hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
Mike Golick saved me hundreds of dollars
Free tickets?
for a story he told on this show.
Really?
Did he hook you up with tickets or
Yeah.
something? What happened?
No, didn't have to. So Mike Golick said when he went to Athens last time, he got a parking ticket for $1.35. And parking at the stadium for Georgia is anywhere from like $80 to like $5,000. Like if you go online, you could buy a parking pass for one game for like $5,000.
Right.
But I parked on the street and saw that there was a metered parking, and I was like, well, I'll just take a parking ticket. So it was $25 for a parking ticket. Asked the meter maid, I was like, will you tow the car if it has a ticket on it? She's like, nope, we don't tow. I was like, fine, I'll just leave it here, take the $25 ticket.
Wow.
Paid it, didn't have to buy parking.
Wow. So the overall experience of Athens, because I've told you it's a great place. Did you enjoy it or?
Listen, it's definitely an SEC college town. It was awesome.
Right. Matty Ice getting into the Falcons Ring of Honor and not getting much ovation, according to Mikey A, is funny to me.
Got booed.
I know, but
got booed a little bit.
No,
I know,
that's not true.
But he's probably the best quarterback in the history of that franchise.
He got booed?
Easily.
Why
he got booed a little bit.
Why?
Because they had a big lead at a Super Bowl and he blew it. I mean,
Exactly.
That would be the reason, probably.
Here's the thing also. You were watching a historic performance by Kirk Cousins, and I would say this. If you were taking someone who had never been to a football game before to that game and they saw what Kirk Cousins did, over 500 passing yards, they'd look at that man and they'd say, you know what? That's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
They would.
First ballot.
I think they'd think that.
The problem with you is you thought it before that game. I mean,
Some people are saying I might be a visionary.
Don't get bogged down in the details.
Yeah, but also I did
people
throw an addendum in there and say after the injury, well, this has kind of thrown that trajectory off a little bit. So
you did do that.
Yes.
But he's back on track now.
Well, I don't know about that. I feel like I safely found my way to distance myself away from that take, and I'm going to stay distanced away.
We have it's a big weekend in football, college and NFL. Chris Sims is going to join us. I'm going to have my picks coming up. By the way, I was 6-0 Stugotz last week. NFL.
Wow.
Yeah. 8-5 in college. Yeah, 8-5. Listen, I do what I can around here, you know. But there are some big games. Mikey, before we get to Chris Sims, before we talk about some of these games, I was surprised when the Jets announced that they had fired Robert Salah. I'm assuming you were surprised as well?
I was definitely surprised that it happened now. I'm not surprised that it happened. I mean, it's funny to watch all these people screaming like, how do you fire him? How do you fire him? But like last week, they were like, he's the worst coach in the NFL. Like he belonged getting fired. I don't know about the timing, but he's not a good head coach. He's just not.
It's the first time since Woody Johnson has owned the New York Jets that he has fired a coach in season. He has never done that before. Yes, Mikey.
Anytime Woody Johnson wants to do anything different than what he's done the last 2 decades, I'm okay with it. Because what he's done the last 2 decades has been awful.
Yes, right. So maybe this time it will give the team a jolt that they sorely need headed into a big game against the Buffalo Bills. It was interesting, though, to fire Robert Salah, Billy, mid-season. And then Aaron Rodgers goes on the Pat McAfee show and says he resents any sort of reaction in which people are blaming me for the firing of Robert Salah. I found that funny, laugh out loud funny, that Aaron Rodgers is resenting media members who are speculating whether or not he had something to do with the firing of his head coach.
It seems somewhat impossible to believe, I will say.
That Rodgers didn't have anything to do with it.
Yes.
Right, yes.
I mean, especially when he spoke to him the day before.
Right, the night before.
Seems very unlikely that never came up in that conversation. But
yes.
What do I know? Maybe Aaron's innocent. Maybe it's just a coincidence that Saleh wanted to demote his friend Nathaniel Hackett, and I think they did have that conversation shortly thereafter.
They did, though.
Yeah, and then shortly after was replaced, and also Nathaniel Hackett still got demoted anyway. So
just think about the idea that a conversation was had, and the next day, Woody Johnson, the owner, fires the coach. And Rodgers says we didn't speak about it when they were talking about everything else.
What did they talk about?
Exactly
what did they talk about that?
What do Aaron Rodgers and Woody Johnson have in common that's like, just catch up? Like, did you see the new episode of Bad Monkey?
Hernandez
Like,
show?
what's going on? What are they talking about? Get out of here with that. Oh, what do you think about only murders in the building? It's like, I don't think that's the conversation that's being had there.
Even in the small chance that Aaron is telling the truth, he had nothing to do with it. He has earned us doubting whether or not he had something to do with it. Like, we're all speculating that he had something to do with it because he's earned that. So even if he's telling the truth, that's on him, not on us. That's on Aaron Rodgers. You know what I resent? The 3 interceptions last week.
Oh.
I resent all 3. Not one, all 3 of them. I resent them. Sorry.
He could be telling the truth, but in that way of like plausible deniability, where like he didn't say fire Saleh. He goes, "Listen, I just think a change needs to happen at the top. So you want me to fire Saleh?" I didn't say that.
Right.
I didn't say.
Is that the way you imagine
Saleh.
it going?
I'm just saying that something needs to happen.
Things could be
in
a
that
little
area.
different. Things could be a little different.
So then what happens? So then he says, it can't be Nathaniel Hackett. In fact, we have to demote him to get the smoke off of you, right? So it looks like you're not running this organization. Is that what happened? Is that the way you imagine it?
I think it was very plausible deniability. That's exactly how I think it happened.
Are you guys turning on Aaron? That's kind of what it feels like right now.
Oh no, I'm not turning on Aaron.
No.
I'm not at all.
No, because he's right.
No. Yeah, he's right. They should fire. They just own it.
Right.
Just come out and say, "Yeah, you're damn right. I got that guy fired. He stinks."
What does this buy you? What does this buy Aaron? And you're like, at what point are you guys wondering if Aaron was the right decision?
Oh, I'm not there yet.
I shouldn't say the right decision because I think 100 times out of 100 you take Aaron Rodgers over Zach Wilson, right?
Yes.
But at what point do you start wondering, is this going to end the way we were thinking it might?
The day they're eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's still the best quarterback we've ever had.
Listen, you're playing for first place this week, so
we got a game for first place
Yeah.
against the Buffalo Bills, and they have coaching issues of their own, by the way. But it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, they do. They have coaching issues over there.
sure.
Why'd you look at me like
They
that?
have issues. I don't know. Coaching issues is the top of their problem, but okay.
Well, I mean, they were blasting their coach last week because of time management and stuff like that. And if I had Josh Allen, I would have done exactly what he did in that spot. They had the ball on the 3-yard line, Billy, and a lot of people said, "Hey, you got to run out the clock there." He threw 3 straight times.
Yeah.
He's got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So it's going to be a great game, Bills and Jets. The fact, Mikey, that we have not looked good and we have a game for first place, it's not many times in my lifetime where I've been able to say, hey, the Jets have a game for first place. They're taking on the Bills.
Are we sure it's going to be a great game?
Well, no, we're not.
No.
Okay.
No, not even a little bit.
I'm having a hard time this year watching a game, going into it, knowing it's going to be a great game.
What's the game you go into? Like Cincinnati, Kansas City, we all knew was going to be a great game, and it was. It was a 1-point game.
Yeah. But that's one of like 50 that have been played.
Yeah, this year it's been hard to find. Yeah. I think the great game, right? I mean, Washington-Baltimore seems like it should be a great game this week,
but we have no idea. To your point,
yeah,
right.
Just like everything else.
Here's something that we do know: after this week, there's still going to be 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the Chiefs have a bye week?
And so do the Vikings. So
okay.
Neither one of them is going to lose. So pretty confident in that one.
Yeah, so we don't have to see. We already know.
Yeah.
The 2 undefeated teams are the Chiefs and the Vikings. Lions-Cowboys is another game that you think is going to be good, but you don't know.
I really don't know. I don't know about the Cowboys.
You don't, huh?
Yeah.
Do you know about the Lions?
I think I know,
Right.
but I'm not sure if I know. You know something that I do know?
What?
If you want to compete against us in our listener league,
Yes.
you go to dkng.co/Smirnoff.
Really?
Listener League is presented by Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka. Please drink responsibly. Nice little week for me last week. Hopped back out of the 300s into the 100s. I feel like I'm trending in the right direction, and I may be hitting pay dirt. No pun intended.
Really?
Yeah.
Not for nothing. When you finished higher than 18, then you can come talk to me because that's where I finished last week.
18.
Just saying.
Wow.
Got a nice little paycheck from DraftKings
this guy.
deposited into my account. I am in a DraftKings state.
Look at you.
And
Wow.
I 18. So I mean, if anybody needs any tips this week,
Right.
you can hit me up.
I like keep them to
they're for sale.
myself. I like keeping the tips to myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't give people the good tips.
But, all
but
right. I like that.
I'll tell them. Things,
So you tell them opposite of what you're actually thinking, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Sure.
Did Billy finish top 5? Didn't you finish top 5 one
I
week?
finished 5th, I think, week 1.
Fifth or seventh. It was one
Yeah,
of
something like that. It was in there in the 5 to 7
Seven.
range.
Tomato,
Top 10.
tomato.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not super important.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. By the way, Ohio State and Oregon are playing each other this week.
It's a big game.
It
That's
is a big
thing.
game.
That's
Big
a
O.
thing.
Also,
Big
Ole
O.
Miss and LSU sneaky, possibly playoff elimination game.
So I think the new matchup between undefeated teams, that's out the window. Like undefeated teams, I don't get excited for those games anymore because even like Alabama, Georgia, it was a great game, but Alabama has lost since. They're still getting into the playoff. Georgia, they lost that game. They're still going to get into the playoffs. And so you're right. Ole Miss, LSU. Loser not making the playoffs. The matchup of one-loss teams is the new matchup of undefeated teams, if that makes sense.
You're more excited about that than number 2 against number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Oddly,
that.
Yes.
Oddly, it does make sense.
Thank you. It does.
It
Yes.
does.
I don't believe that you believe.
Billy, LSU Ole Miss, the loser of that game is out.
No, I know. I said that.
Okay, so that game to me would be more exciting. If you have a loser season is over game as opposed to Oregon and Ohio State, if they lose, not the best thing, but they could still get in. I'll take the matchup of 2 one-loss teams.
Much
All right.
much higher stakes.
Thank you.
So they're on at the exact same time. That's the game you're going to be tuned into.
Probably not. I mean,
I'm watching
which game do you
Ohio
have more
State.
money on?
I'm watching Ohio State, Oregon. Sorry.
I mean, neither team has lost. It's a matchup of undefeated.
yeah, they're defeated, Billy. No
2 or
losses.
3. I mean, how often does that happen?
They haven't lost.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Big Ten implications.
I think Ohio State's going to win that game
Do you?
and win big. Yes.
Big?
Yeah, I don't think Oregon's that good.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're,
they always do this.
Yeah.
Oregon, yeah.
Yeah.
This is their spot to let you down.
Yeah.
It really is something Oregon always does, right? They just always seem to let you down.
Well,
for some
Ohio
reason.
State kind of does it as well, but I mean,
Yeah, but Oregon has like a 20-year history of this. This is why they started doing the whole uniform thing. It's like, oh, they're so cool. And it's like, yeah, but you know they're going to lose at the end. Like, we know exactly how this season's going to go.
Is Oregoning the new Clemsoning?
Wow.
maybe. Sims, was it hard for you to watch what happened to Tampa over the last couple of days with the weather situation? Because you played down there and you have an attachment to that city. So
I always think of them. I do, yeah. I mean, it's my heart's always with that city to a degree. Yeah, they drafted me. They were great to me there, the fans. It's a special organization. They are good people. So, yeah, I definitely have been thinking about them. Was watching the news late last night. I had been there during a hurricane early on in my career, so I know what it can get like there. I mean, literally to the point where you can jet ski down streets, right? I mean, that the last time we were there, that's how it was, and I'm sure there was some of that going on yesterday as well. But hope everybody's okay back in Tampa.
yeah, same. On behalf of everyone here with God Bless Football, our thoughts and prayers to everyone impacted by that storm, especially people on the west coast of Florida, because it was horrific and we haven't learned the extent of the damage yet, but I'm certain that we will in the upcoming days. But I did want to ask Chris about that because he has an attachment to that city. PFT with Mike Florio. You can check it out every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast as well. Football Night in America, Sunday Night Football. Man, the NFL, it is getting good since Jayden Daniels,
It is.
Lamar Jackson coming up this weekend. What a fun time, huh?
Oh, yeah. That should be a great one, certainly. I know like a lot of people have tried to make comparisons about Jayden Daniels and Lamar Jackson, and I get it to a degree. I do think there's a different style of play, right? A little bit. Lamar Jackson, when he came into the league, was like right from the get-go, it was like, ooh, is it him or Michael Vick are the greatest running quarterbacks ever? Jayden Daniels is really good at running, but not to that extent. He's better in the pocket, though, throwing the football and making decisions than Lamar was early on in his career, but two special players. I do think the Ravens are in a little bit of a different class as a football team than Washington. This will go a long way. If Washington keeps this close or even pulls off the victory, it'll make me think differently of them. But when the Ravens are at their best, I kind of look at them and go, ooh, I don't know if I've seen a team in football that's as good as them when they're at their best, or they're certainly up in that hierarchy. Washington, a lot of good, but I think it's been also a schedule that fits them and is favorable that way. And Jayden Daniels has been phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but I think this is a different animal they're facing this week going into Baltimore and seeing this team.
Chris, what'd you make of his response when someone brought up the comparisons to Lamar Jackson? Jayden said, no, I am not Lamar Jackson. He rejected those comparisons. But I think that's what makes the great ones great. I think he thinks in his mind, no, I'm a better version of Lamar Jackson.
Right, or his own version of it, and he's just better than Lamar in general. Like, I don't disagree with you there. I don't, but I think where, like I said, and I think he probably looks at it and he's probably going, wait, I don't want to first off compare myself to a guy who's won 2 MVPs and is, looks like he might be on his way to the Hall of Fame, really, in Lamar Jackson. He doesn't want to do that. And then I think he probably recognizes a little bit what I said. He plays the game a little differently than Lamar, right? Lamar came into the Ravens and it was like, oh my gosh, these runs, and holy cow, he's running down the field and spinning off a blocker or tacklers and splitting people and stiff arming people. Jayden Daniels is more, hey, I'm looking, I want to throw the ball, I want to make a great decision. Okay, nothing's there. All right, now I got out on the edge and I go from there. So there is a different style of play. Jayden Daniels definitely has a little bit more pocket presence, pocket passer in his DNA, maybe than Lamar did early in his career.
Were you surprised when you heard the news the Jets had fired Robert Salah?
Of course.
You had to be, right?
Shocked.
Yes.
Yeah, shocked. You win this week and you're in first place in the AFC East. The strength of your football team is the defense. He's a defensive head coach. Nobody's done what they did last week to the Minnesota Vikings offense. We've seen the Texans. We've seen the 49ers, right? The Vikings have marched down everybody and just exploded offensively. They couldn't do that against the Jets because the Jets' D is real. It is real. So, yes, I was shocked, and I don't even know what to make of it. It just seems like maybe Woody had this thought in his brain in the offseason, didn't do it. They go to UK, where we know Woody was the ambassador in the UK. They kind of get embarrassed and lose. The emotions of that. The offense has not been very good. Was there a meeting on Monday morning about maybe we should change the coordinator and have a different play caller? Did that get, the conversations going? Or I think that was Tuesday morning, excuse me. I have a hard time believing, Rodgers and Woody Johnson talked the night before, but they didn't talk about the most important thing in their organization. Okay. Okay, guys, sure. I'll believe you. You're immunized, right? Yeah, okay, sure. You're immunized. I don't believe much of what comes out of Rodgers' mouth anymore. And, it's a crazy situation.
I do love Rodgers saying he resents any notion that he had anything to do with his fight. No, he's earned that. Chris, even if he did it, even if he's telling the truth, he has earned us not trusting him, okay? Like that.
Well, it definitely has. And I would say if he didn't talk to Woody Johnson about this, then they're stupid. That's all I would say.
Right.
Like that would be bad business on their part. So I don't believe that. Yes, he's made me not believe much of what he said. And come on, Mikey A knows as a Jet fan, all they've done is bow down to Aaron Rodgers ever since he's gotten there. So, now this one, they didn't listen to him. They've listened to him on everything else about every subject in the world, and he gives 9 State of the Union addresses on the team every week, but not on the biggest subject in the team's history. No, he didn't talk about that one. Okay, guys, sure. Yeah, all right. The fairy godmother's real, too. So, I don't believe any of that crap. And here's the other aspect why I'm on it. Because you guys know Aaron Rodgers at his best, I think he's arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. But he's not a top 10 quarterback right now. Right? He's not that. And I'm sick of people jumping on Nathaniel Hackett for this offense is Aaron Rodgers' offense. Okay, to speak to our point again that it's all Rodgers. He's King Rodgers with the Jets organization. This is not Nathaniel Hackett did not run this offense like this when he was the offensive coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nor was it exactly like this when he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. So this is what Aaron Rodgers wants to do. This is why Green Bay got exhausted with him. And he wants to throw it 3 yards and 3 yards and 3 yards, and then behind the line of scrimmage, minus 3 yards, and he hopes everybody else will work that way from him. And this is him. So, what's going to happen now that they changed to Todd Downing? Are they really going to change? I got to see that to believe that one.
So how big of a deal is that to change offensive coordinators right now? I mean, what's that like in meetings right now? How are they going to change so much about how bad
I don't think they changed. I think they did it for appearances to give the appearance that Aaron Rodgers is not running the team. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do? Aaron, let's put 3 tight ends in and then run it up the middle. He'll be like, shotgun, 3-yard pass. Okay. Hey, let's do this, Aaron. Shotgun, 2-yard pass. Okay, I audibled. I saw something. I had an audible to that, the 2-yard pass. I don't think it's going to change much. Like I said, I got to see it to believe it. Todd Downing does have a different style on how he calls plays on that side of the ball. I think we'll know pretty quickly. But I don't know why Rodgers wouldn't want to change. They ran a few play action passes last week, and he threw a deep comeback to Garrett Wilson on the right side. And I know I told you this last week. I'd love to see more of that. He threw it great. And I think Garrett Wilson was like, whoa, and he actually dropped the ball. It went off his face because I think he was like, whoa, he threw it more than 10 yards down the field on a different route than a go route. And he dropped it. I think it was shock. But, what about those plays do you not like? I don't understand why they wouldn't want to change. As I told you last week, the offense is so predictable. I sit in the NBC screening room and call out his plays all the time.
Wow.
So if you think I'm calling him out, what do you think Brian Flores was coaching his team last week? What do you think Sean Payton and Vance Joseph did? When they face good defensive coordinators, they're going to be all over his basic stuff that he does on the offensive side of the ball.
Billy made a strange face, had an odd reaction to you saying you're calling the plays before Aaron runs them. What happened there, Billy?
Well, because Tony Romo parlayed that into $80 million. Chris, what are we doing here? Let's do that same thing. Let's get Romo's age and go on there.
Nobody wants to give me the number one job on a network, right?
Then why not?
Because my career wasn't good enough. Come on. I barely hang on to where I am because my career wasn't good enough. TV execs, they love big names that don't really follow the sport. They love that. So I can't do that.
Name names.
Tony Romo didn't turn it into weekly appearances on God Bless Football.
Thank you.
I'm just saying,
Well, he's not quite as big time as me, so he can't quite do that yet.
I want the big time quarterback who's not watching football. Who is it? Brady? Say it. Do it. Come on.
No, Brady's watching football.
All right. Okay.
Brady's watching football. For sure.
Aikman, for sure. Aikman. What are you doing?
Aikman.
No, it's not them. I have no problem with those guys. Those guys watch the sport. They live it. They love it. They don't. I wasn't necessarily speaking to them. I was more speaking just to the general, the general, exactly the way it is, the philosophy of a lot of TV people.
Chris, there is hope for the Jets offense. I saw you tweet this out. The Bucs offense with Tom Brady really didn't start clicking till late in that season when they won the Super Bowl. So I guess there is hope if you're a Jet fan that offense will get going at some point, correct?
Yeah, that's why I don't understand the decision to fire him, right? I don't think any of us expected them to be 5-0 here. I know they're a really good team, right? The roster is phenomenal. So, 2-3 is disappointing. I get that. But I did not expect them to be high-functioning, unbelievable-looking team here right away. It takes time. It takes time for everybody to get on the same page as Rodgers and what he wants to do and how he wants to run that offense. And, that was my point. I mean, we were sitting there in Week 12 with the Bucs and Brady going, man, I don't know. Are they going to make it in the playoffs? I don't even know if they're going to get there. It doesn't look good. And all of a sudden it hit that point of the year, week 13, 14. It was ooh, that kind of looks good. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wait. We're getting in the playoffs, and they're kind of on fire on offense. And then that continued. So, that to me was the shocking part there. But we'll see where this goes now, especially with Todd Downing having more say on the offense.
What'd you make of the Patriots' decision to start Drake May?
I like it. I do. I'm always in favor of that. Get him out there, get going, right? Like you guys have heard me say before, you can't practice 70,000 fans screaming and guys literally trying to rip your head off for real for the first time. There's no way to emulate that at the quarterback position. Get them out there, get going. It's going to be a tough first test. Yeah, the Texans defense is good. I expect them to make a few mistakes in the football game. I really do. But we know what Jacoby Brissett is. We know what the end potential is there. This is a kid that they believe in. He does have potential. And I think with them, you hope, hey, he gets going here. He gets playing. He starts to show, in a few weeks, hey, whoa, there's some talent here. There's some light at the end of the tunnel with the Patriots. And hopefully by the end of the year, he could be playing well enough to where free agents that are out there will go, you know what? The Patriots, Drake May, I want to go play there. They got some stuff working there. And I think that's, got to be part of their plan. But, yeah, it won't be easy at first. We know they're not a super talented team.
What about someone like Spencer Rattler? What do they do with him if he starts succeeding? Because Derek Carr's not going anywhere.
No, but, I got to look at Derek Carr's contract overall. I would think that they could probably get out of the deal with him and then within this year, if not next year. Well, I'm sure this year there'd probably be some sort of cap hit.
His base next year is 30. His base the next year is 50. Look at cap hits here. 51 million cap hit next year.
And what's his guaranteed money left? Do you know, or anything there?
That's him looking it up, by the way. That sound.
Yeah, that's okay. I like it. I appreciate you doing this on the job. But I would think they could get out of this this year, after this year, if possible, probably with a cap charge, but nothing too egregious. But we'll see. We'll have to do some more digging there. One, I don't expect Spencer Rattler to be a threat to take anybody's job quite yet. I mean, first off, their offensive line is banged up. They got their ass whooped against the Chiefs, like to a point that I didn't expect them to get back. And I guess they were a little more banged up than I expected they were when I had to pick the game earlier last week. But that was I think more of a demoralizing loss rather than, oh man, we played tough against the Chiefs and now we're pissed off and we're going to play better this week. I think that's more of like, whoa, we're not even in their class and we got injuries and we lost our quarterback. Uh-oh. And I don't expect them to put up much of a fighting effort this week in this football game against the Buccaneers. I don't. I think the Buccaneers will be pissed off and ready to go. And, yeah, with that offensive line being the way it is and Spencer Rattler not being a elite thrower of the football, I'm not expecting big things there, Billy.
Chris Sims is with us. Should the Steelers go to Russell Wilson?
I understand it if they do. I mean, last week, certainly it was a little concerning. I've been one to say, hey, stay with Justin Fields, the style of play. It all works. He's been getting better, right? But last week was old Justin Fields. I watched that film on Tuesday. He missed throws. He made bad decisions. He missed people that are wide open and didn't even look at him, or looked at him and, I don't know, just didn't throw it to them anyways. So he cracked the door open for Russell Wilson. The fact that he was a full participant yesterday, I mean, I guess I'm expecting him to start this week. I am. But I do. If it is Justin Fields, right, he better play well. If he just plays okay, I think it'll be the last week of Justin Fields. I do think that. But I guess in my heart of hearts, I'm expecting to see Russell Wilson Sunday.
Sims, a lot of videos floating around of George Pickens in that game, kind of running half-assed, not really running anywhere. And what do you do with someone like that when on film you're just not trying?
Yeah, it's not. First off, it's at least the plays I saw, right? And I didn't sit there and go, let me see if he's loafing or hustling here when I'm watching the film. I got too much film to watch sometimes to dig into that kind of stuff. But I see what people are talking about. I saw some of the clips. Now, some of the plays where, hey, it's a runaway or whatever, and he's not involved, and it doesn't really matter. And I think people are picking on him a little bit. And there are some routes down the field where you'd like to say, hey, run the route totally. You don't know the quarterback's not going to throw you the ball, right? I know this is a look where he shouldn't throw you the ball, and I think that's where he's smart, and he goes, wait, this ain't coming to me on this coverage, but it's still not a good look. And he takes a little off the gas pedal to a point to where, yeah, it jumps out. Not that everybody runs every route across football at 100%, right? You could see Tyreek Hill in a game against the Dolphins when he goes, wait, I'm going deep. They're in a coverage where I'm not going to get it. he doesn't go 100% full speed, but he doesn't jog. He still runs pretty hard. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you want to see from Pickens. But yeah, this is the problem with their offense, their lack of passing game, and Pickens is a little bit of a pain in the butt that way. And when he doesn't get the ball and get things his way, he can seem to get frustrated and for lack of a better way to say it, pout or get frustrated, whatever you want to say there. But yeah, they need to get that right, and they need him in the game because he's their only offensive player that is capable of doing outside, the realm of what's drawn up on the playbook.
Chris, it was interesting, and I'm wondering your thoughts here. I think for the first week this season, I could safely say that last weekend, Caleb Williams outplayed Jayden Daniels. Do you agree? I agree.
2 weeks in a row, Bears offense going like this with creativity and stuff, right?
Yeah.
They had some veteran players a few weeks ago have a meeting with Shane Waldron, and they said, you're not trusting us. We got to open up the offense. It's too basic. Mercedes Lewis being one of those guys. It does look like ever since that point, they've been like, okay, let's open up the vault. I was thoroughly impressed watching that film on Tuesday morning. One, Caleb Williams is special.
Yes.
His ability to scramble and make people miss behind the line of scrimmage is up there with anybody in football. I mean, he had a touchdown run called back that was one of the damnedest 6 or 7 yard scramble runs you'll see, right? His arm is off the charts good. It's off the charts. On the run, I think he has the strongest arm in football, and I don't say that lightly because Josh Allen has like one of the strongest arms I've ever seen on the run.
Wow.
So, and same with Mahomes. So they're special, but the offense has got it going. They do a lot of different stuff. You know me, guys. Like, for a great offense, you need to have a zig for every zag. You got to have checks and balances. You got to give, hey, we're running this play. Oh, it's a play that looks like that. Ooh, but it's different. We got a curveball off of our curveball, and they got that going, and there was a nice flow to the offense, let alone they're blocking a little up front, and DeAndre Swift is running mad. So you're right, Stugotz, and I'm excited to see the Bears again this week. I'm picking them to win that game against Jacksonville because Jacksonville's defense stinks, but Jacksonville is desperate, and that does scare me a little bit.
Leads me right to the question Billy should be asking you every single week. Is Trevor Lawrence good?
Trevor Lawrence last week, he's on the way to Canton
on
Hall
the way
of Fame,
to Canton.
baby.
Yeah. That's where he's going.
He did play awesome last week.
He did.
I did not watch the film,
right.
But I kept my eye on it on Sunday.
Right.
He made all the things we complained about the other weeks where we went like, guys open, you got to hit it. And hey, you're $55 million a year. You got to make a few plays that are like, hey, nothing's there, but it still works, right? Like the great ones do. Like Mahomes or Allen or Burrow do so much of the time, or Lamar, like, oh, the defense won, but they didn't win. We still got 20 yards because I'm fucking awesome at quarterback, right? And that's what we saw a little. There were some plays last week and some throws that were unreal and eye-popping. And to me, the other thing, too, is feed the ball to Brian Thomas Jr. all day long.
He's good.
The offense should be all around him. And I'll say it again for like the 4th week in a row. Tank Bigsby is their best running back.
Yes.
It's not close.
Right.
And they need to keep giving him the ball as well.
He should be their number 1 running back, Chris, I think.
I think he will be. And then they might start Etienne and go, oh, yeah, you're the starter. And then like the 4th play of the game, they bring in Bigsby. But I do think last week was a little inkling of them showing like, I think Bigsby's the guy, and we're going to start to infuse him in the offense more and more.
Chris, we're impressed with Caleb. We're impressed with Jayden. How could you not be? This has a chance to be one of the best rookie quarterback classes of all time, if not the best. And I say that we haven't brought up Bo Nix, who continues to get better every goddamn week. He's good, Chris.
He is good. Listen, and this is why I think you guys heard me before the year, and I was excited about this crop of quarterbacks. And I think even if J.J. McCarthy was the quarterback of the Vikings, he'd be doing good things too. I'm not saying they'd be 5-0 like Sam Darnold and that, but we'd be going, damn, for a rookie, this looks good. Right? Because these 4 guys can play quarterback. They weren't just like, oh, he's got a strong arm, or oh, he's just really fast, and we'll see if we can work on all the other stuff. No, this is like, these are guys that had all those attributes, and you were like, man, they're good decision makers. They got a lot of different throws that they can, access in their bag of clubs. They work the pocket the right way. And Bo Nix, it's not pretty, but the big thing is he doesn't make mistakes. He usually completes what's there to be had. He makes a little bit of a splash wow play from time to time. They're not as good on offense as the Bears or the Washington Commanders, but he's playing the position the right way. And then they're playing through their defense. But yeah, Bo Nix is good, and it will continue to get better. And it might not show itself to great statistics this year, but as the future goes on and they get better players around him, I have no doubt that he's going to be surgical as a quarterback.
You have the Bengals and Giants on Sunday night, so you can't go to the game. You can't hang out with the people like you like to in the 400 level because you got to work that night, right? But I am wondering, Daniel Jones seems to be playing better. Like he's playing better, Chris.
No, I mean Daniel Jones he's been solid all year for the most part. I know he threw an interception on a screen pass against the Vikings early in the year, and then he threw the game was over, and it was 28-6, and he threw a late interception in that game. But for the most part, you can't sit there and look at the Giants and just go, oh, Daniel Jones is the problem, blah, blah, blah. Again, not a superstar. I get that. But kept them in the game of the Cowboys. Yeah, we would like to see him make a few throws and get them over the hump, right? But yeah, it's been positive. And I think they're finding their way as an offense. I hope Neighbors is back this week, because if Neighbors is back, I think this game will be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be fun no matter what.
Right.
Because Cincinnati's defense stinks. And I do think Daniel Jones is throwing the ball well. And I think the Giants have enough weapons on that side of the ball that they can stress out that Bengals defense, and that can be a fun game. So, yeah, it's been solid. It is. Now, I'm going to pick the Bengals to win the game, but I don't feel good about it. I wouldn't bet on it because of that Bengals defense. They scare me.
Right.
But, what I do want to say is this, right? Darius Slayton, Malik Neighbors, that's a pretty damn good two, home run hitters. That'll be fun to watch. But, man, on the other side of the ball, then there's no Kayvon Thibodeau, and the Giants' secondary is not good. And if Joe Burrow and company had a better record, he would be the MVP of football right now. Joe Burrow,
no doubt.
I mean, decisions and dot after dot after dot throwing the football the last few weeks has been incredible. I think that'll continue. I think they outscored the Giants. And let me just say this, too. Jamar Chase is definitely the best receiver in football this year to this point. I think so. I think he has separated himself, and even I would say he's better than Justin Jefferson right now, which I know there's a good friendly rivalry there.
Burrow has to be so frustrated by this defense. They were in the Kansas City game. They should have won that game. They've been in every game they played this year.
Yes, right.
I'll throw New England out, but Burrow has to be frustrated. Chris, I said earlier this week on the show, I still think the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. In fact, I think the Bengals are going to reel off the next 4. They'll be 5-4 before the next time they play Baltimore. Do you agree?
I'm not giving up on them totally as the playoffs yet. I guess I have enough faith that I think there's enough talent and the coach is good enough on the defensive side of the ball that they can become formidable on defense. There's going to be a lot of pressure on their offense to carry the squad. But, yeah, the next few weeks, I hear you there. When you talk about, Giants this week, the Browns, which are a dumpster fire.
Home with the Eagles, yep.
Home with the Eagles, which, it'll be a good game, probably a coin toss game. But then the Raiders the next week after that, definitely some winnable games. But it's going to take Joe Burrow being on fire. And I think even against some of those poorer teams, they're going to still have to score some, pretty high scores there to win those football games.
But you're so right. He would be the MVP. In fact, I'm not certain he's not the MVP. But
well, I know, right? You look at his stats, the record hurts, of course. But,
right.
12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, right? I mean, he's 6th in the league in passing yards. His completion percentage is, I'm sure, right up there with anybody at the top of the sport. He's been playing damn good football. I mean, come on. He's Joe freaking Burrow. And to me, as I told you, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and I would probably say C.J. Stroud, I think are in a little bit of a class of their own right now, with Mahomes being in his own class.
But if the Bengals played Kansas City, this is how you measure it, all right? If the Bengals played Kansas City, I'm not certain who would I take in that game.
I hear you. They match up with the Chiefs. They
right.
do.
Yeah.
They do. There's no doubt about that.
Quick,
we'll see. That hurt them last week. They blew that one. They had chances to win that, control the game, and get away with a victory and didn't pull it off, and that definitely hurt.
We'll get you out of here in just a second here. I want to get your thoughts on the Jets and Bills. Do the Jets have a chance in this game?
Definitely. 100% they have a chance. The Bills' offense stinks. It's everything we always talk about again. It's one guy. Now, he didn't play good last week, and I'll clearly state that. I talked about that on my podcast on Wednesday.
Right.
Allen in the first half of the game was not good decisions, missed some throws you expect him to make, and got off reads too quick. Like he expected he'll be covered here against this defense, or I'm not going to have enough time to wait for him. Let me move and get out of the pocket. And it was like, no, he's wide open, and you got off him too quick. I don't know why. So he didn't play his best. But when I think about the Bills and in the Jets defense, who I think is awesome, I just go, I don't see how they're going to move the ball consistently. And he's not going to be able to make magic plays, just like last week. They're too fast up front, the Texans and the Jets, to where when he scrambles, he's not going to be able to buy the time that we see him buy against Jacksonville or some of the other teams where he's unstoppable. So I do look at that. If the Bills, I think the best thing about the Bills, other than Josh Allen, is their offensive line. I honestly want to kind of say to them, like what I've said to the Baltimore Ravens, become a great running team. Get teams to bend to your running game so much to where now you start to get some favorable matchups and you can access the pass game and be explosive, right? That's what the Ravens did. Great running game, great running game, great running game. Bengals are like, oh, it's a great running game. We got to go all in. And I called it last week. I said it would be the week Lamar Jackson throws for 350. I think that's what the Bills have to do to maximize what they are. And then their defense, again, solid but not great. I take the Jets to win the game. I'm going to take the Jets because of that defense. And I think there might be a little bit of a boost or a rallying cry with the team. I'm going to take them to win 20-17.
First place, Mikey.
Sims, did Allen get concussed last week?
Yes.
Probably.
He went down hard and looked like he was out, and I feel like we haven't heard anything about it.
No, well, of course not, because, a smart player or somebody like myself, when you bang your head on the ground, you go, ow, my ankle hurts, right? Even though you're seeing 3, because you don't want to, have concussion protocol. And, can you tell me 4 + 4? Oh, you didn't answer it quick enough. I think you got to keep you in there for another week, right? So, no real football player is ever going to tell the truth about their head. None. And that's me included, and I'm not mad at them for it either. That's just the way it is. Guys like Josh Allen, Mahomes, whatever, unless they're staggering and stumbling, they're not going to keep them out of the game. They love the sport too much. They're grown men. They know how important they are to the team, and they're going to lie to the doctors every time.
I know.
And that's what he did, and I would do the same.
But I think what people are questioning is the protocol. There's supposed to be a doctor on there who has nothing to do with the team that won't let him go back into the game because he knows he's concussed.
Well, yeah, and again, I don't, the definition of concuss has changed a little bit too. I mean, 25 years ago, when we call it a concussion now, a guy would have just been like, man, I got hit hard in the head. I got my bell rung, right? But that's so what? That happens 7 times a game. I'm going to keep playing. So we've become a little more sensitive there. And just because you hit your head of the ground and maybe now there's technically a concussion, again, if he's answering all questions right and he knows everything right on the dot, knows where he is, and he's answering, what are you going to say? Well, he hit his head hard, so we got to say it's a concussion. I don't know. We've seen some boxers can take a right hook and a roundhouse a little better than others. They can take that and still function. My head is half cement. I can take a shot to the head and be like, what? Maybe I think more clearly now. I don't know. That's just the way we're wired. And don't think that the human element of the doctor who knows, whoa, this is the most important team player to the franchise, and everybody's asking me, is he okay? Is he okay? Is he okay? He's okay, right? He's okay. Don't think that they don't fall into the trap of that personal moment as well. And I think that happens here.
That is kind of what it looked like, right? Because it looked like he got knocked out, and then they ran over, they gave him smelling salts, and your name's Josh Allen, right? Nod. And then someone had their hand on his head, and they're like, yes. And they're like, okay, right back out there, Josh. You're good to go.
This is Sims, though. Did you expect any different answer than what we just got? He's fucking Phil's son.
Exactly. I'm a Jersey meathead who was born from a guy who's a Kentucky meathead that grew up on a farm. So, yeah. And, my mom's a daughter of a butcher, and, sure, family's full of Jersey meatheadedness. And, yeah, that's just, again, I think a lot of the old school football players think that way. And, especially the quarterbacks who are fully invested, don't want to ever come out and know what they are to their teams. It's going to be hard to pin them to some of these concussions at times unless it's just blatantly obvious.
Gerald McCoy, who played at Oklahoma, said Texas has not played anyone yet. They haven't been challenged yet. They're going to play someone this weekend. That is Oklahoma. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if I don't totally disagree with what they're saying there. I mean, Michigan, of course, is a top 15, top 20 team now.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a team that I really felt like could match up with Texas and threaten them. This is probably our first real test. So we'll see where it goes. Oklahoma is a team that, for whatever reason, has Texas's number. Going back to my days, they're kind of like in our heads. I think the rivalry is like they look at themselves as like the little brother, even though I'm like, wait, you've won way more national championships. And like they'll be in a big game and like Texas is nowhere involved in the national scene and they'll still be doing horns down. You'll be like, you're in the national championship. We're like the 70th ranked team in football and you're still thinking about us? Like, stop. But yeah, it means a lot to them. But I think we'll be ready. Right. I will. And then, of course, we better be ready because we got Georgia next week.
Yeah. Well, yes. This will get you ready for Georgia. That's exactly right.
Yes, exactly right.
This will get you properly ready. Mets, Yankees. Well, listen, if they make the World Series, me, you, Mikey A, we go to a game together, one game, just one game. Me, you, Mikey A.
I would love that.
Okay.
I would love that.
All right.
Yeah. Yep.
You want Billy there, or what do you think? I mean,
no, okay, we can slum it with Billy. Yeah, we can slum it with Billy.
The tailgate beforehand.
I'm surprised, Mikey. I didn't know Mikey A was the Yankees fan. I mean, I guess I did. I didn't know that. But Jets and Mets fans usually go together.
Correct. Yes.
No, I'm a Boston hater. Yeah. I hate Boston as opposed to hating Philly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
So that drove you towards the Yankees fandom. Okay, exactly. I hear that. Right. I don't hate the Mets, right? I'm not one of these New Yorkers that's like a Yankees fan. And I'm like,
we don't care.
Oh, I hate it.
Right.
I enjoyed watching the game last night. I've been watching.
Right.
I love watching the New York Mets fans go crazy, right?
Yes.
They go through their struggles
good for
a little
you.
bit.
Yes.
Good for you.
No, the Mets
I will say, though,
he's
I'm
right.
scared if we got to play them in the World Series because I think they'll have our number.
Yeah, team of destiny. You got it, right. It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. College football, week 7, 8-5 a week ago, 29, 21-1 on the season. Here we go. Penn State at USC. Penn State. Pennis? Did I call him Pennis? Penn State is a 5-point favorite. Yes, Billy, go ahead.
I'm just here.
What do you mean? I think I said Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State. Their favorite.
Penn State is a 5-point favorite. They're taking on USC. USC coming off a loss. Penn State's going to lose a game. They might lose 2 this year, but it's not going to be this week. Penn State will win. They will cover. They will win by 10 points on the road. Pitt, they're taking on Cal. -3. Buy the 2.5. Pitt wins. They cover. Pitt wins by 7 points. Illinois taking on Purdue. Illinois is -19. This is more a bet against Purdue than it is on Illinois. Why? Purdue might be the worst team in college football. Illinois wins. They cover. They win by 24 points at home. Georgia State -1.5 taking on Old Dominion University. I know a ton about both these teams. Georgia State wins. They cover. They win by 6 points at home. BYU -5 taking on Arizona. Billy, you know what you don't do if you're a college football team?
What?
You don't go to Provo on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
If you do, you get what you ask for, which is death.
Oh.
Well, that's a little bit harsh, but you're going to lose the game. BYU -5 taking on Arizona. BYU, they win, they cover. BYU by 10 points at home. The Gators taking on Tennessee. We all thought Tennessee was a lot better than they are. They're not that good. Florida, they're sneaky good. I'm telling you right now, they have found something there with their quarterback situation. Tennessee wins the game. The Gators cover. Tennessee by 3 points at home. Ohio State, Oregon, battle of undefeated teams. Ohio State is -3 on the road. Buy it down to 2.5. Ohio State wins. They cover. They win by 10 points on the road. LSU +3.5 taking on Mississippi. Buy it up to 4. LSU is going to win the game outright, which defeats the purpose of buying up the point, but do it anyway because I told you to and I'm hot. LSU wins the game outright. They win by a field goal. Iowa State, sneaky good team, undefeated. They're at West Virginia. It's a 3-point favorite. Buy it down to 2.5. Iowa State wins. They cover. Iowa State by 8 points on the road. And finally, Colorado, +4. Ticket on Kansas State. Colorado wins. They win the game outright. They cover the spread. Colorado by 3 points. NFL Week 5, 6-0 a week ago. 22-16-1 on the season. Bears -2. Take it on the Jaguars. The Bears win and cover. They win by 10 points. Texans -7 at Patriots. Buy it down to 6.5. Texans win and cover. They win by 14 points. Packers -5 over the Cards. Pack win by 10. Steelers at Raiders. Steelers by 7 over the Raiders. Buy it down to 2.5. Broncos +3. Take it on the Chargers. Broncos win the game outright. They win by 7 points. They cover the spread. Bengals over the Giants -3. Bengals win by 10. And the Bills beat the Jets and cover the spread. The Bills win by 10 points in New York. Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.